Come, Chaver, I hope, I'm telling you, from 2 nights ago till today, we took it to the Rebbe took it to a different level, an entirely different Torah. There's finally something that we could start with. Not that we want to walk away with, but we want to start with. So, are we're good?
We're always good.
Hold on a second. I also want to record it. So, a few nakudas first that we want to talk about. Number one is that we're starting a new Torah and a new Ischachis. And I didn't even look at the Torah yet.
Hang up the flyers. I didn't get to it.
I sent it to you.
I know. I have to print it out.
So it's a new Torah, new Ischachis, and we plan on learning this Torah. What? I know. I'm telling you, I feel the same way. I'm not ready.
I was uncomfortable writing the word סיום.
Mamish, not ready. B'chlal, we're not ready. We're completely not ready. Yeah. It's all echad, by the way. We'll talk about echad in a second. We'll be able to understand. Reb Shia said it before. Reb Shia said a word before. We'll say it in a second. And but let's say it when we go into the Torah. But the point is a few pointers that I want to be madgish. Number one is that Rebbe, I need your attention because they're important pointers. Number one, we're starting a new Torah, and we plan on learning this Torah until Purim for sure, probably till Pesach.
Wow.
In other words, we made in the Torah's Manas got together and they were fighting the whole thing because they don't go with the Torah too long, more than 3 months. The Rebbe said 3 months. You're not allowed to go 3 months. But every time we come to the thing, to the end, we realize that we're just at the beginning and that we didn't even scratch the surface. So it's very hard to leave the Torah. Like the Rebbe says in this Torah about the Diburim, how the Diburim talk to you and they say, Ati Yedea Goydel Yekar Zivi Tifati Hadori Eich Tuchel Espared Mimeni. How could you feel it mamish that the Torah is begging you, don't leave me. Don't leave me. Everybody said, we're going to start again Cheshvan, we're going to start again Samachay. And every kollel that I went to this week is telling me, let's not stop Samachay. Let's go one more month Samachay. But we have no choice. The Dibur says to us, the Rebbe is telling us we have to go weiter. So how do we we weiter? So we're going to talk about this concept of echad, and then maybe we'll bring it, if I remember, we'll bring it home to how do we go weiter? And really, we could ask the question we could ask already, and I know you know this in Eretz because Mati asked this question. He was ma'ir me this question that the Rebbe says in the Torah that the Dibur itself is telling you to go weiter. It's telling you two things. It's telling you, don't leave me. And yet, at the same time, the Dibur is telling you, but I know, hey, Nemes, that you have to go weiter, but at least don't forget me. Why would the Dibur, who was one with the Nefesh, that's telling you not to leave you, tell you, hey, Nemes, you have to go weiter? Don't tell me. I know myself that I have to go weiter. Why does the Dibur have to tell me that I go weiter? So, I'm not going into the teretz of this. Maybe we'll get to it when we talk about the Torah, but I'm going to say one thing. That the Dibur, the Rebbe himself is telling us that we have to go weiter. Even though we're touching Torah Zamachay, the Torah is telling us, okay, we have to go weiter. What are you going to do? Al tishkach, don't forget me. And hopefully when we finish talking about the recap of the Torah, we'll come back to this Nakuda. But there's a few things that are very important things to talk about. Is that when we start learning the Torah in Yad Shem, I didn't look at the Torah yet. Mamish, I can't, because I can't leave the. But we have to go weiter. So, but Sunday, Yad Shem will start it on Sunday. But the word is that I'm giving advice only for my own journey. It doesn't mean that this is nothing. My disclaimer goes on again and again that we don't say pshat and look at the Moran, because who could we to say pshat in the Rebbe's Torah? We're saying pshat in the way the Rebbe is talking to me. The Rebbe is talking to me in a certain way, and the way the Rebbe is talking to me, azoi shine to me. And I'm trying to share what it's shining me, sai, from a place of connection in the Torah, and most of all, in the connection of how do I internalize the Torah and use this as an eitzah to avodas Hashem. Besides the eitzahs that we see clearly and that we have in Messiah Midar that we get, that these are the eitzahs of the Torah, but everybody could find their own eitzah, because if you go with the place of bittul, that we're going into the place of, we're mevatel ourselves to the Baal HaSoda, we're mevatel ourselves to the Echad, we're going into that place of we are mekablim and not chas v'sholom. We're saying pshat, and we're mekablim from the Rebbe, and we believe that the Rebbe is talking to each of us individually, and the same words that the Rebbe says to me can say one way to me and another way to you and another way to somebody else. So we're sharing our journey through the Torah that's we're trying to internalize in our lifestyle and live the culture of the Rebbe and live the culture of the Torah and take the antibiotics and the prescriptions that the Rebbe is giving us in the Torah as medicine in our nigya nefesh and our yisurim that we're going through in this world, in each person in his journey, in each person in his matziv. So we're taking these prescriptions and we're trying to find our way throughout this journey in order to come to the tachlis. And the Baal HaSoda, he's the one who brings us to the tachlis. Ultimately, we can't do anything without the Baal HaSoda. But we have to do, I heard a nice thing today that's not relevant to the Torah, even though we try not to go from the Torah. I was by my son's yeshiva today, and they had like a avos abonim. They were saying that a medrash said that he was talking about Evan, that Evan is the Avu Ben. Evan, the Rashi is Meshom Roya Evan Yisrael. Evan is Avu Ben. So he said that Evan is, and it's interesting that he mentioned it. I said it again, connected to the Torah. Everything connects to the Torah. That all the Avonim are the Oisis HaTfilah. He brought a medrash that says the Avonim are the Oisis HaTfilah. So he said that the son and the father and son was a father and son learning. He was trying to say about the father and son. So he said that there was a stone that they brought from I don't remember which, was not in Yerushalayim, a big stone that they wanted to bring to the Beis HaMikdash that was going to fit into the Beis HaMikdash. When B'shas they were building the Beis HaMikdash, and they couldn't, it was such a heavy stone, they couldn't find a way to bring it from wherever it was to wherever, to bring it to Yerushalayim. So they brought all different people, nobody was able to do it. The Eibishter sent Malachim b'dmus anoshim to come to bring the stone. But the Malachim, when they came to him, I forgot who it was, it was one of the Nevi'im. I don't remember exactly. He was saying so he came and they said, okay, we're going to help you bring the stone to Yerushalayim. We know how to do this. The only thing is we need you to put your finger, your etzba, he said, also connected to the Torah, etzba, in order to help us. Give us a finger, help us, and we're going to, and the Taka went and they brought it to Yerushalayim. So he was saying that the Rabbeim in the yeshiva, they are the Malach Hashem Tzvokos. Imarav, Daim the Malach Hashem Tzvokos, said the Malachim, but Musa Noshim, and they're coming to help your son. But the Tata Dav Tzilagen, everybody has to put a finger. Same thing is the Baal HaSoda, he does be'etzem the tikkun, and like we learned in traditional Breslov that this Torah is talking about the Baal HaSoda, and he's talking about but we all know that the Torah, the Rebbe didn't say Torahs about the Baal HaSoda. He said Torahs for every single individual. And as an individual, where are we as an individual? What's our avodah in this Torah as an individual? And then we do our thing, our etzba. That's the Zeh Hashem. That is the etzba that we're bringing, so that we empower the Baal HaSoda to do the real tikkun. So and there is a sicha in the Rebbe. The Rebbe says, "Bring me vaflim et zigel neichel boim from them binyanim nefloim." The word is that we have to do ours, and we're going to see in the Torah what is the hours we spoke about. What is the hours that we have to do? So, if we're learning Likutim Moran and we're taking on this new Torah to learn, we have to Shmiras Hasdarim is a very big thing, and I'm noticing. I'm here a few times already, and I'm noticing that there's a shtickle chulsha in it. And we're not talking about anybody individual. We're talking about everybody as a group, and everybody's an individual. It's Shmiras Hasdarim not because of money, but because of money. What's the whole tachlis here? The tachlis is to build this idea of everybody learning the same Torah, and wherever you go in Breslov, everybody's learning the same Torah, and everybody's sharing, and this is going to bring an achdus to Breslov, regardless of the uniform. The Rebbe didn't discriminate on which uniform you are, and which place, and which hat you wear. The Rebbe speaks to every individual, and we see it clearly in Oman. Everybody that comes to the Rebbe Siyum is invited, because the ones who don't come, clearly were not invited. So, if we are lucky enough to be in the Baal HaSoda and connected to Baal HaSoda, what's going to be ma'achados? We have such differences in how we see the Baal HaSoda. The only thing that's going to be ma'achados is the Torah of the Rebbe. And if we're able to get everybody, this is starting, and they're saying now we're going to have over 2,000 people learning this Torah. Torah Lamed Gimel, the next thing. You know what that is? In Breslov, there was no such a thing ever in the history. I don't know if there was 2,000 people, but 2,000 people all learning the same Torah at the same time. We're part of a movement. We're part of something much, much bigger, and it's going to fit into the echad. So the first thing is that we have to understand we are on a mission. And if you're a Breslov chassid, and this is what you're doing, it's not you're coming because the kollel pays $400 a month. You're coming to kollel because I'm part of the movement, and I happen to need money. So if I'm part of the movement, I have an achrayus. I have a responsibility. You think I like doing this? Running around from kollel to kollel. This was not my plan. I promise you. Rabbi Yankel could tell you. This is not it wasn't in the card for me to be doing that. How this happened, I don't know. But I know one thing. Somehow the Rebbe is pushing me into this thing. And I feel that this is a way to do it. So it's very important that each individual feels this as a responsibility. And the responsibility is not to the kollel. The responsibility is to the movement. The responsibility is to the Rebbe, to the Baal HaSoda. The responsibility is to the Eibishter, to bring Mashiach. If we believe that the Torah of the Tzaddik, that's Mashiach's Torah, the Rebbe said that there's no difference between me and Mashiach. Just Mashiach, they're going to believe in me, they're not going to believe. So if we know these responsibilities, then we all have a responsibility. So what's the minimum responsibility we could do? If we're designating the time to learn this Torah, then we have to designate the time and be here, and with a chiyus, and pump each other. And there's breakdowns. We're going to go through hardships, just like we go through life with hardships. In the Torah also. How many times when we started this Torah, I don't know if anybody remembers, we started Torah Samachay, the first few weeks, it was a struggle. We didn't first to understand the concepts, and then the connections, Ba'alef, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, seemed like the 4 different concepts completely, and how are they connected? So we're going to be struggling. So the advice that I'm giving is A, come on time and utilize the time. B is when you learn the Torah, first go through the Torah. Go through the Torah. Even, you know, in the English Likutim Moran, at the end of every sif, there's a summary. In English, there's a summary of the sif. And then when it goes to the next sif, there's a summary of both sifim. Very easy thing is first get the language without even challenging questions or anything. Just understand what is Sif Aleph, what's Sif Beis, what's Sif Gimel, what's Sif Dalet. Hey, this is Zayin Sifim, and get the map. And to get that map of the Torah, you need to at least go through the Torah 2-3 times fast, and you still don't get the map. But at least you'll start hearing there's an idea here, an idea here, an idea here. Before I start trying to be misamek and to understand the kesha advarim, just the map, the words. What is it? Sif Aleph, Soda, Bala Soda. Sif Beis, Diburi Atfila, 2 motions of Diburi Atfila. Sif Gimel, Yisurim, Echad, Re'iyah, Tachlis, Bittul. Sif Dalet, Bittul, Tzimoin, Schachas HaTorah, Vayoyma Ba'ez Orus. Get the map. The map of the Torah. That's the first important thing. And that only comes from Bekis, not from me. That needs to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times through the Torah. I try to make 2 stars, to make one where every day I try to go through as much as I can through the Torah. And then a seder of going slowly through the Torah without just understanding. And then you start asking questions. And then you start, I'm telling you, and this is why I brought mine to show you, I never wrote in my life before. I'm not a writer. But this Torah, at some point I started writing, and I couldn't stop on almost every single word. I started writing on the Torah questions. No, nothing. Just questions. The Rebbe changed the lashon. What does the Rebbe mean? What's the connection? Is it possible that this is connected to this? And I just started writing, and then I started looking back at what I started writing. The next time I went to the Torah, started looking back at what I started writing. I said, that the Rebbe mentioned over here. Maybe it's a kesher. Then in the back, I started writing again of the kesher. Is this makusha to this? Is this makusha to this? Perhaps this is makusha to this. This is a way of understanding how to learn what the advice. It doesn't mean that this is the way. I'm telling you from my own journey, I'm sharing with you, and I think that's something that could really be very, very helpful, because we're going to get stuck. We're going to get stuck. Not a question. We're going to fall into the tzezetzkeit. There's not a question. And we're going to prepare for it, because we know we're going to plow through. And when we do, there's going to be tremendous rewards at the end, where you feel that you just elevated, you picked up yourself. The Rebbe picks you up, Imamish picks you up, and you're a different person. Torah Samachet changed my life. I said it by Torah Chalfei, but this really changed my life. But next one will say the same thing. If you internalize it and you live it as a culture, and not something to say at the Dvar Torah by the table, so that you have something to say to perform to someone else, but something to live internally, to take into yourself and mamish exercise and see, where do I get challenged with this on a daily basis? And I'm seeing this Torah completely every minute of the day. Wherever I'm going, I'm being challenged with the same thing. Yisurim, hello, who doesn't have Yisurim? The Rebbe is saying the Yisurim is physical, spiritual, and emotional. And could be the Rebbe is telling us that all the physical Yisurim are coming from the emotional, spiritual Yisurim, which is the Nigei HaNefesh the Rebbe talks about, right? So we're talking about Yisurim. Who doesn't feel? We're just not aware of it. We're running away. The Rebbe says when you close your eyes, you're running away. But when you're going into Chazud HaYalma, then you're going in Vaita. And if you put your consciousness and you connect to your bittul, then you're going into Stimas Einayim and Chazud HaYalma. And when you go into Stimas Einayim and Chazud HaYalma, that's when you're going into bittul. So anyway, I'm just giving you a format and let's take something. What can we take out of Torah Samachet that's going to be a kesher within Torah Samachet, and something that we could take l'uvdan l'maisa. So let's start like this. Everybody, I'm sure, asked the question that how do I make echad for my Dibur Tefillah? The Rebbe says that there's two motions in the Dibur Tefillah. One motion is that I'm melakit, the tzitzim, sheishanim u'prachim, I'm collecting them. And the other motion is that when the Dibur goes out, the Dibur is talking to me and begging me, don't leave me. You love me so much. We have such a great connection. The most romantic part in all of Likutim Moran, probably, that the Rebbe expresses it. And the Dibur is talking to me and begging me not to leave, but I know you have to go away, so at least don't leave me. The Rebbe says, okay, so you know what the Eitzah is? The Eitzah is to make echad from the whole tefillah. Does anybody know how to make in Baruch? Let's not forget Atov. The Rebbe brings the lashon of Baruch. How do you make it Baruch that you remember every single Oisat tefillah? So Lamaisa, what do I do? Where's my Lamaisa in this echad that we're making? We spoke about this the other day. I'm going through it, and we're gonna enhance it a little bit, hopefully. So that's one major question in the Torah. Another question in the Torah is, the Rebbe talks about making echad from the Dibur, and the Rebbe talks about making echad from the Yisurim. That the Yisurim came because I should do tshuva. So the Yisurim are here to bring me to echad, to the tachlis, to look at the tachlis. So I need to make echad from the Yisurim, and I need to make echad from the Dibur. It seems like the Rebbe is saying there's two echads, there's two avodas. What kesher is there between the Yisurim and the Dibur? Anybody?
Yeah.
What kesher is there? The Rebbe is talking about an avodah of making echad from the Dibur Tefillah. The Rebbe is talking about an avodah of taking the Yisurim and converting them into tzimoin, to eschachus HaTorah, and he's telling us to make echad in the Yisurim. That means that there seems to be two echads, or maybe one echad can be. By the way, there can be two echads. There's only one echad. So maybe there's two separate avodas in echad. What's the kesher between Yisurim and Diburim?
nefesh. The nefesh is the
Okay.
and the serum is the niga nefesh.
Okay, so what's the kesher between? You told me nefesh is a connection to both. But what's the connection from dibur to yisur? What's the connection between the dibur and the yisur? Where's the connection? The Rebbe is talking about my echad, so what's my connection?
The dibber is also nefesh. The dibber comes from the
Gevaldig, you're saying they're both nefesh, but what? So yeah, I believe they're connected. But what is there? But it seems like two separate things. You're going through Yisurim, and you got to go look at the Tachlis, and because that's going to bring you to the moment to the Chatzah Torah, and there's Diburim that you have to make echad. So is there a connection between these two questions? Is there maybe possibly a connection between the two questions? Sorry, what did you say?
The same bittul, the same kluk, and
Right, so the same avoida, but it's in two different parts.
it's the same. Again, it's the same avoid.
What makes it the same? What makes it? I'm asking a question. What makes the two things the same? What makes my diburi atfila and my yisurim one? What? My nefesh, that it's coming from my nefesh? What makes it one?
Yisurim is nifl, it's painful.
What? No. And okay, very good. What's yisurim? Yisurim is painful. Okay. And memela what?
When you're talking the bow, which is chilkei nefesh, and it's being dispositive, that means that you're going to Yisurim.
Why?
Gets the person to start speaking.
Oh, you're saying something. I'm trying to put. You say you're touching something. What make where? So think. This is what I'm saying. Think. What is it in the Yisurim? What is the kesher in the Yisurim in pain and suffering to the dibur that is? Where is? Show me in the motions. How about this? Let me help you. There's a motion in dibur. The Rebbe said two motions. There's a dibur. It's coming. There's a malakit. I'm gathering. And there's Yoitza Dibur. And then there's another thing, Hashmeh Lo'oznecha, Ma'ashatamoitze Mipicha. So that means the Rebbe is telling me there's a process here. What is the process that's happening with Dibur that's connected to Yisurim? It has to be connected. It can't be two separate things. It has to be connected. So it was bothering me, mamish, this part of the connection of Yisurim, and that means Siv Beis and Siv Gimel. One second. I just want to bring out a point, then I'll let you speak in a second.
No.
Between Siv Beis and Siv Gimel, this was bothering me the entire time. It seems like it's two individual concepts that the Rebbe seems to make it that it's one echad. So I was learning the Likuta Halachas today on the Torah, and I'm telling you, I want to tell you, I started learning the Likuta Halachas on the Torah 2 weeks ago. After 3 months of just learning the Torah and challenging the Rebbe and getting stuck, right? And getting stuck, and then saying maybe we have a mahalach, and then you open the Likuta Halachas and you start realizing that Reb Nosson is not just giving you a drush. Reb Nosson is mamish mevayah the Torah, and all the questions that you had, Reb Nosson saw it. Mamish. And so I was learning today Likuta Halachas, a whole beautiful Likuta Halacha, where Reb Nosson goes in to the whole thing of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur Sukkos, that's the whole avodah of the bittul and the Rishima. And then he goes into Sukkos and the Shivas Aroim and to the Arba Minim. And Reb Nosson says, I just want to read it because this is something that opened up to me something amazing, I think. And again, it's not pshat, and I'm just saying it pshat for me, and it gave me an avodah. And today, the Letzah Tug from Yod, the Rebbe says in Spur Maises, right? Today, the Letzah Tug from the Torah, all of a sudden, it opened up a Ma'ir Gezach. Reb Nosson says like this, I want to read it, talking about the Arba Minim. He goes through Mamish beautifully, the whole Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur Sukkos, how it's all, and the Ananei are covered. And then he goes and he says that the Arba Minim, Ubezeh Shonu Loichen Elo Arba Minim, Mitzimcha Asodo. That's why we're taking the 4 Minim from the Tzimcha Asodo. Bezeh Marim Godel Koichenu, Masha Pa'alnu Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, Zechinu, Aidei B'chinas HaBittul L'Sagna Es HaTfilah, Ad She'onu Yichonu L'Kabetz, U'Lelaket B'Yodenu Tzimochim Nifloim Asodo. So Reb Nosson is saying beferish, and Reb Nosson brings it in Kitzur Likutim Ran also, that this likut of the tzmochim, of the flowers, that the Dibura Atfilah that we're doing when we say Dibura Atfilah, that we're malakit, we're taking from the Sodas El Yomis. And then he says Ki elu arba minim hem klulim kol haneshama shegdelim basoda. The arba minim represent all the different types of neshama, because the esrog is tam v'reach, the lulav is tam b'li reach, the hadas is reach b'li tam, and the arava is ein tam v'ein reach. It's representing every type of yid, every type of neshama, and we're bringing them together, and we're making the nanum. He even says the nanum is bittul, and I thought about it. I was mechavan on yontav that the nanum is bittul v'reshima, bittul and reshima. The whole thing, everything is about the bittul and reshima. So Ibn Nosson says beferish that we're taking from the Sodas al Yonis, and we go into this Soda, into our Soda over here, and that Soda, we're taking all these things, the representation of the Arba Minim, and that's what we're doing with our Dibur. So the thought hit me that maybe it's possible that Rav Nosson is telling us that, which the Rebbe is telling us, that where are we taking these Diburim from? We're taking it from the Sodas al Yonis. Where's the Sodas al Yonis? The Sodas al Yonis is the place of Echad. That's for sure, right? The Rebbe is telling us in the Sif Aleph, that's the place of Echad. So we're taking the Dibur from Echad, and it comes down to the Nefesh, and Kishi Yoitze HaDibur, when it goes out, there's a separation. And Rav Nosson talks about it here, that the whole Bria is this separation. And this separation, and daika through the separation from the period, now you go and you make echad. That's the avodah. Because be'etzem, why would the Eibishter create the world from echad to echad, and there's going to be a 6,000 year of period of echad? If the end tachlis is to get to echad, why do you need to go through the 6,000? Now I'm not going to say why the Ramban Shalom made the world, but I'm saying possibly that there's that part of it is that daik, and this is Rav Nosson says it over here in the Likuta, that daik from the fact that there's a period. That's where my avodah is to make echad from all the period. So, and we said that we're all the Baal HaSoda. Of course, there's the Baal HaSoda, but we all have the Baal HaSoda. We all have our own Soda. So our own Soda is what? Our Diburei Atfilah. So our Diburei Atfilah that come from the Sodas al Yonis, they're coming to the Nefesh, and then they yoytze Nefesh, and then the Nefesh is telling me, the Dibur is telling me, Al Yispar me, man, don't go away from me. So then what do I have to do? I have to go back to Bittul, and back to Rishima, and make it in turn, convert Yisurim into Tzimoin. So where did the Yisurim come from? So I thought that maybe all the Yisurim is all the Diburim that we didn't make Echad from. The Yisurim is actually the Diburim. These Diburim that we didn't make Echad from, these Diburim that are begging. So why? Because what did we say? The Yisurim, when you go to Bittul, when you come back to the Yeshima, you're converting the Yisurim into thirst. What's the thirst? I want to go back to Bittul. I want to go back to Echad. I want to go back to the place of Kulei Toiv. So I'm taking the Yisurim and I'm going back to the Tzimon. So if it were, and that brings this Chachas HaTorah. That's the Tzimon. And that brings this Chachas HaTorah. So now, Oibazoyer has to work reverse also. That means when I don't do the Avodah, then this Chachas HaTorah go to Tzimon, and when I don't use that Tzimon back that way, they become bigger Yisurim. Right? So that means that my Yisurim are coming from what? From my Diburei Atfilah. Because in the place of Echad, it's Asher Ayin Ra'asa. The place of Hoiva in the present, in this world, in the Sodas HaTachtoinis, not in the Sodas Al-Yonis, in the Sodas HaTachtoinis, which is our Sodas, in that place it's period. So if I don't make Echad from my Tfilah, if I don't take my Diburei Atfilah and I don't make Echad from it, those Diburei Atfilah, they become the Yisurim. That's what is the Yisurim. Those are the Nigei HaNefesh. That the Nefesh is, why is it called Nigei HaNefesh? Because the Dibur that comes out of the Nefesh is screaming, don't leave me, and yet you're leaving me. You let go of me. So it's the Tzimoin that it was, what the yearning that the Dibur had to the Nefesh, and you forgot about him, you let him go, that turns into Yisurim. Says the Rebbe, Mori de Gazach. Don't worry, you have an Eitzah. Because if you understand that these Yisurim are only to bring you back to Echad, it didn't go away. They didn't fall away forever. But you now, just start now, go into your Diba Tfilah and you make echad from your baruch. You take your baruch, you connect it to Rabbeinu Shalom, you're bringing a flower to Rabbeinu Shalom. From where? You're taking it from the Sodas El Yonis that you chose it, that you picked out, and now you're bringing baruch to Rabbeinu Shalom. And now you bring Ata. Doesn't mean that in Ata I have to remember baruch. Because if I made echad from baruch, and I make echad from Ata, I only added to the echad. I didn't take away from the echad. I added to the echad. So every word of my tefillah that I'm, and I was thinking that maybe that's the lashon. The Rebbe keeps saying kishaoimid b'soif tefillah, kishaoimid b'tchilas tefillah. What do you mean oimid? Because you're standing in the same position. All you're doing is you're adding. The Rebbe talks about the dibur tefillah. It's kahoylech basoda. You're traveling. How could you be traveling if you're an oimid? If you're oimid, how could you be traveling? The teretz is in each dibur I'm an oimid. In the whole tefillah I'm hoylech. But in my dibur tefillah that I'm connecting to you, Rabbi Shem, from the dibur tefillah that I'm making one with you, that is the echad that I'm making from each dibur tefillah. So Memela now we could understand the connection between Yisurim and Diburim. That the Yisurim and Diburim be'etzim are the Diburim that I let go of. So what am I going to do with these Diburim? What am I going to do with these Diburim that I let go of, that they became now Neshamas Arumos, that are Mechutz LaSoda? How am I going to bring them back into the Soda? The Rebbe says, don't worry. You go do your avodah of making your Yisurim right now. You're bringing that to Echad. You're turning that into Tzimoy. That's going to give you his Chachas HaTorah. What's the his Chachas HaTorah? A new pshat in the Rambam? A new pshat in the Rebbe Sefer? Also. But this Chachas HaTorah is taking these Diburim that were Michutz LaSoda and I'm putting them back in the Soda. How? By me making Echad, I'm empowering the Baal HaSoda to have state Tzofim. When I empower the Baal HaSoda to be in Bechina state Tzofim, he's going to take all my Diburim and bring it back. And that's what we said. That's Merdig Meduik. We said this yesterday, where the Rebbe says at the end, after he goes through Sif Dal and he talks about all the mechanics of the Torah, the Rebbe says, and the Baal HaSoda yochel estakel b'chol echod ve'echod. The Baal HaSoda, where is it? It's Merdig. She'ein of me'iris b'b'china state tzofim. As a yochel estakel b'chol echod ve'echod, he could look into every individual, imu korav el tachlis, if he's close to the tachlis, ukesheroye be'echod, sherochok me'tachlis, as a ein tfilos edaim b'shleimus karov. So we asked the other day, right? It sounds like the Rebbe is telling us that the guy's almost there, but ain't tfilos b'shleimus karov. It's not perfect. So don't worry, the Baal HaSoda is going to make it perfect. I understand. What about the guy who's rochok me'tachlis? What about the person who's totally outside the Soda? The Rebbe in the beginning of the Torah spoke about all different individuals. The Rebbe is telling you, but it sounds like you're almost there. So we said that maybe it's a drush, but maybe it fits so beautiful that the Baal HaSoda, when we do Ritzoyne Shomokim and we make echad from our Dibur Tefillah and we connect our baruch as a flower that we're giving to you, Rabbi Shalom. Ata, we're adding another flower. The picture is changing. We're adding to the beauty. That's the Goydel Yikar Yefei HaSoda. Ashrei Ayin Rosa, Iyaf Shalasaper, Ashrei Ayin Rosa. What does it mean? It means that we're adding to the echad of the whole world. So Oy Bazoi, now the Baal HaSoda Yochel is Stakel B'chol Echad Ve'echad. The Baal HaSoda looks into every one of our echads. Imu Korav La'tachlis, Oy Rochok Ma'tachlis. Not that he's looking into every individual. About that's the pashtus. But he's looking into all our echads. From the Baal HaSoda is taking the echad because that's the oisen Ritzoyne Shomokim, and if that's the oisen Ritzoyne Shomokim, that's empowering him to be able to bring us to the tachlis. Even the Dibur Tefillah that are lost, that became the Neshamas Arumos, even all these Dibur Tefillah are going to come to echad into the Soda. Oh, so we said that that's pshat, that the Rebbe says, also that Kodesh Baruch Hu lases mochel la tzadikim in the Sof Torah, that the Eibishter is going to make a circle for the tzadikim. So I thought, what's the circle? What's the circle? First of all, and what did they say? Ze Hashem kivinu loy. The Rebbe said that the whole tachlis of Echad was from the pasuk by Yom Ahu Yeh Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. that the Eibish's name is going to be one, and Hashem Echad Shmai Echad. Frag the Gemara, Otto Idna Lav Echad. Now he's not Echad, but now we make a bracha Hatoiv HaMeitiv and a bracha Dainam. We're going to make Kul Hatoiv HaMeitiv. So I thought of a very nice zach. What's Shem Havaya? The Posh the Kavan and the Shem Havaya is Hoya, Hoyvaviyah, right? Shem Havaya is Hoya, Hoyvaviyah. The Rebbe is telling you, where do you take the Dibura Tefillah from? From the Sodas El Yonis. When you're malakit, you have to be malakit from something that was existing already. So you're taking something from the past, and you're connecting it to the future. You're connecting it to the Osid Lavai. You have to take, in order to make that echad, you're taking the same dibur, the same flour that you took from, you malakit from the Sodas. So you're taking that, and you're making Hoya Hoyvaviyah. So he says, each person on his level, that he's taking his echad, and he says Baruch, and he's connecting it, and he understands that this is a flower that is giving the Eibishter, the Eibishter with every dibur that he's saying, because every dibur is an oilam maleh. The Rebbe says, what does it mean, an oilam maleh? It's either oilam or it's not. Is it an oilam maleh? What makes it an oilam maleh? Oilam maleh, the Rebbe says that the place of the tachlis is kuloi toiv. There's no separation. It's kuloi toiv. It's fulfilled with toiv. That's oilam maleh. How do I make an oilam maleh? When I take, I'm malakit, my diburim, from the Sodas El Yonis, and I'm connecting it to the Tachlis. So even my Diburei Tefillah that became my Yisurim, I understand that by connecting it to the Tachlis, I'm making one from it. That's by Yoim Ahu Hashem Echad, Ushmai Echad, because I'm taking the, but I'm doing it on my small level. But when we come, L'Osid Lavoi, Osid HaKadosh Baruch Hu, L'Asais Mochoy LaTzadikim. He's going to take a circle. What's the circle? The bittul to the Rishima. The Rishima to the bittul. The bittul to the Rishima. Osam mochol latzadikim. V'chol echad marabetz boyin. Everybody's going to show with their finger. Zeh Hashem, Zeh Havaya. That is the Hoya Hoyva V'yiyah Kivinu Loi. That we were waiting for. We were anticipating the real echad. The real echad that we anticipate. Zeh Hashem Kivinu Loi. That's the echad that we did it on our level with a small version. But the Rebbeinu, the Tzaddikim, the Baal Soda, he's going to take all my echods and bring us into the Soda and continue to nurture us, to be mashkos. How much time do we have? We have a few more months. And he's going to continue to give us, nurture us, and that's Chol Echod, Mara Be'etzboi. Everybody's going to say, Zeh Hashem Kivinu Loi. That's the Havaya of Bayoim Ahu Yeh Hashem Echod, Ushmai Echod, that we're going to take the Ava, the Hoya, the Hoiva, and the Yiyah, and we're going to make it, and that's the Eitzah. So, Maisa Kumtoiz Amaridizah. What do we come to? What? What's this Shire? If you put them into the vase, you take the flowers, you take one flower, put it into the vase, you're making a bouquet. Put another flower. No, you're not forgetting him, you're only making him more beautiful. You never forget him, because when you add the second flower, you're making the first flower more beautiful. You add the third flower, you're making all two flowers. Every echad is making this beautiful present to the Rebbeinu Shalom, that making it more, and that's Goydel Yefei. What? It's Yanat. Oh, what's the guy that forgets it? That he didn't make echad. He didn't make echad. He let the Dibur go. He didn't try. He didn't attempt. He didn't go with his passion to Kavanah Baruch Ato Hashem. He didn't go. I told you the word that someone told me, someone from here, B'simcha Rabba V'amru Chulam. So I said that he said that Baruch is the Rosh Tevis. David Friedman said, B'simcha Rabba V'amru Chulam. So I thought like this, that the Rebbe talks about that the keli that you have to be makabel, the keli is the simcha, right? The Rebbe says that when you go to Bittul, Nasa b'Shosh Amru Yisrael, by the way, when the Klal Yisrael said Nasa b'Nishma, that they got the Tuksarim, Ukeshachotu, and when they sinned, they took away the Tuksarim. So you see that simcha is the keli. So b'simcha Rabbah v'amru chulam, and all my diburim, Baruch is the Rosh Hashanah, b'simcha Rabbah v'amru chulam, v'amru chulam, all my diburim will become one. It was a nice verse, but the verse is, what is the Maisa? What are we walking away? We're walking away with a few major nakudas here. Nakuda number one is that I have to do my little etzbah. I have to this etzbah that we said about the Evan, that you have to do your etzbah. And what's your etzbah? Your etzbah is to recognize that every dibur that I'm saying, I'm connecting, I'm making my echad. That's number one. And I could do it with my pashata baruch ata Hashem with no big Torahs. I can make my etzbah. That's number one. Number two is that when I'm feeling pain, to remember that this pain is only for me to come closer, not to me to run away. And stimas enayim mechazudai alma, and to go into the place of bittul, and we all do it anyway. It doesn't sound like it's a big thing, but it's not a big thing. It's bittul and reshima, and the Rebbe is telling us the eitzah of how to do it. And the most important part of the Torah is to have the emunah that when we do our etzba lekim, the Baal HaSoda, we're empowering the Baal HaSoda to be b'chinas state zoifim, and we're empowering the Baal HaSoda, and really we all have to come on to the Baal HaSoda, and that without the Baal HaSoda we're incapable of coming to make echad from all the diburei atfilah and to bring all the neshamas arumas that are mechutz lasoda, to bring them into the soda. So we ask Hashem that as Breslov Chassidim, we go away from the Torah with a new emunah in the Baal HaSoda, and to understand that this Baal HaSoda that we are so fortunate and we're so lucky to be part of, and that the Eibishter was mezaka us, why us, to understand that we all are, we're not just for our selfish tikkun of ourself, which is one way, but we also are Baal HaSodas, and we also have an obligation to go and bring mefarsim and bring the Rebbe's Torah, and that all the neshamas that are chutz lasoda, all the neshamas that don't yet know from the Baal HaSoda, to be megala to them the Baal HaSoda, to reveal to them by being a good example and showing what we are as Breslov Chassidim, who we are, and that in the Schenkeit and in the Groiskeit, that men sehen wenn Mashiach kommen. And that is what I have to say from my Torah Samachay. Anybody else want to share that? No, Reb Shia, I'm sorry. That was my.
No, ich will sagen auf Jiddisch, sagen geringer.
Sure.
Du sagst, ich kann das ja Englisch.
Okay.
So, is the man
Dan Suda redt man noch Jiddisch.
So, lechoire, was der Rebbe will ins Auslegen, der ganze Teure, ein Mensch hat das Sach Matzov in mein Leben. Sach mo seite der Mensch nicht sei klur, sach mo seite der Mensch nicht sei klur, sach mo du sach lechtige Teken, es du Teken, was mir namens von adressieren. So, der Rebbe will geben ein Wort von dem, diese tun wir Echot, aber ein Wort ist sich mit Wattels an Verneibisch. Lemushla, le digme, also wir Nachman tun beizem, der ganze Drusche, was gut sei, legabe Kimmetzatlich, legabe der ganze Sache von der Kollel, der ganze Sache von der Lehne Teure von 2007 zusammen so. The idea is, als man so auf ein Page, der Page ist, man sich mit Wattel zum Zadig. Bei Meile darf man Kimmetzatlich, die ganze Sache, was man geschmiss du, ist eine ganze Zeit eine Sache. Man ist Bootel zadig. Wenn man ist Bootel, bei Meile fällt schon alles an einen Platz. Derselbe sagt, der Rebbe will es rausbringen, le gab Avodas Hashem, le gab alle Matzom von Malem. Zadig, me Wattel von Eibischen. Der Regen wird es doch me Wattel von Eibischen, ist alles Mesider. Bei Meile, kommt aus Kollel der Heilig von Echot. Ja, das meint Echot. Echot meint nicht sehr verschiedene Matzom. In deze klappt en deze setzen. Ich sehe alles auf ein Picture, als wo soll der Eibischte für mich? Der Eibischte wirklich so, was ist das für in deze Woche der Rebbe ran in den Kopf ran, aber du redest von einer Sache. Kim nicht war kein Geld, kim nicht war kein Covid, kim nur eine Sache. Ich will sich mit Wattel sein von Eibischten, und der Rebbe weiß, und so mit Wattel. In deze meint, wir sind in Suda. In Oib, eine fällt heraus von der Suda, das meint, et verloren der Point, für sich mit Wattel sein. In der Rebbe will ein ganzer Zeug, ein ganzer Kick heraus, sich mit Wattel sein, bei meiner Kinder, warum da wir noch, zum Schiff, warum da wir noch. Ein Mensch davend, und hat eine Gitter nicht. Dann mit der Burig ist ihm gelungen. Will nicht gehen zu der Reich. Warum soll gehen zu der Reich? Du klopft eine Gitter Sachen, und will nicht gehen warten. So der Rebbe sagt dich nicht. Ob ich hab's dir, der ganze Twille meint sich mit Wattel sein von einem. Wo ist man das da? Ich bin doch sag nicht in der Mut zu da. Was heißt mir doch da jetzt? Stand wie ein Goylem? Ich kann mir an der Schiele, kann ich nicht ausachern nicht. Aber was darf ich da tun? The point is, weil ich mir sich mit Wattel von einem. So this is Schach von jedem meinen. Der Rebbe will geben ein Nummer für alle meine Probleme, wieso ich kennen von jeder Sache, Als was, als ich ga mal kommen, als ich will mich mal warten sagen. Kann ich mal, dieselbe Sache, aber als du Mensch, wo der Bittel ist, ich will machen eine scheine Sache. Ich will machen eine scheine Blin. Okay, ich bringe noch eine scheine Blin von einem bisschen. Das ist ein Bittel. Es tut noch eine Kide, die Sprache, was der Rebbe redet, wieso kann ich auflassen, dieselbe Sprache, weiß jeder ein, was eine Mama hat ihm gesagt, wenn er geboren geworden, hat eine Schumme gesagt, fahren mit der Brüder geschickt auf der Welt. Wieso kann ich auch, also ich sitze und dachte, ich von dem Eibischen, ich kann kein Leben durch, es macht so Geschmack, aber wo ist doch auf der Welt? Mit Zahn, mit Isir, mit Petbros, Zures, so sucht man eine ganze normale Torah gestimmt. Ja, okay, jetzt, wo ist aber stehen, du? Gibt jetzt der Rebbe, der Balasude, und er sagt, das wissen, man mit Torah gestimmt von Eugen, du bist Kille herausgefahren von der Balasude, also Meister, lehn dich aus, wo der Tachlis ist. Der Tachlis ist Bittel. Und der Tachlis ist, ich muss mal warten auf einen Eibischen, bis du mit deinen Problemen, pinkt das wie euch mit Trekis akut. In Trekis akut, du meint, dass ich mal warten gewinnt, das passt, das weiß, was meint Trekis akut, aber das meint, ich bin mutig auf einen Eibischen. Oi bin man, oilem Hase. Kann ich mich mit warten auf einen Eibischen, also der Bundesland, ich gebe alles hin von dir, Echot, Kille, Echot, ist jetzt. Le Masse des am Madreige. Ein Stückchen Madreige, was das geht an, los und Luwa. Was geht an, aber können doch wissen, was geht an, jene Madreige, was man geht tun kann. Jetzt ich kann echt mal bei das Buch, jeder wird wissen, der Rebbe sagt, wenn man solche zu Bittel, wie soll man solche zu sehen Bittel, wenn man legt daran den Finger in der Auge. Damals meint ich fokus nur auf das Wort des Bittel. Auf dem Fokus, das ist der Regime, es geht bleiben die ganze Zeit. Bei Meile, wenn man schiegt, kommt jeder an Marabets Boy. The point, weißt du, was mit dem Finger, the point, die gewähnt Bittel. Jeder hat verstanden, sehr schön, Kevin Eloi. Man, die ganze Sache gewähnt, ich verhoffe von einem Eibischen, ich bewarte auf einen Eibischen. Das ist ja mein ganzer Mond. Der Neueste, ich gehe gerade an den Zadiksfeld, das ist mein Zeug, ich habe einen nahe Blick auf die Welt, das meint, vielleicht darf ich nicht. Aber ich komme hier an, weil ich will mir Wattel sein. Ich weiß, man kann fliehen in der ganzen Welt, aber es ist nur ein Wort Bittel. Also Bittel kann ich machen mit der ganzen Twille 1. Für die größte Twille, die Zadikstwille mit meinem Twille, also wie die Dalat Mine. Ich kann alle, ich nehme, ich mal 8, wo ist die Ichit? Von alle Dalat Mine. Ich schockel von einer Eibischen, ja? Bittel Regime die ganze Zeit. Der Reben ist Bittel Regime, aber ich jetzt alles.
Geil.
Ich mag gut Eierwetter für andere.
Gewaltig, sei. Anyway, nu as Kollel, I brought the new